today you get to listen to Mrs. McNamara, and I am going to be the guest speaker when we're talking about estimating square roots. So in your ISN, you're going to have to find these pages and glue them in. We just cut this one so it fit. It should be just a half page that says estimating non-perfect square roots, and that goes on page 21. On page 22, you need to find a full sheet that says practice estimating or estimating irrational square roots. Fold that in half and glue the black side on. So these are what your two pages are going to look like in your ISN, page 21 and 22. And what we're going to talk about is estimating square roots, non-perfect squares. So yesterday on page 19 in your ISN, if you go back, you talked about perfect squares. Those are like perfect little squares. 1 by 1 square, and the area of that square was 1. If you had a 2 by 2 square, you should have these filled out. You went 2 times 2. That perfect square is 4. 9, 16. You should have these filled out in your ISN already. And we'll refer to this list again when we're estimating. So fill those out, because what happened was when you took the square root of these perfect squares, you got this whole number, 10. Or if you took the square root of 49, you found out that it was a 7. So because the area of that was a square, the length and the width were the same size. All right, so now we have these numbers that when I take the square root, if I did it on a calculator, I get this crazy number that goes on and on and on with the decimal and doesn't repeat and doesn't end. So you need to be able to estimate these numbers. When you're looking at this 20, you want to go back to that list, page 19, and look for the two perfect squares that it falls between. So if I look at the number 20 and I go to page 19 and look at my list, oh, it's less than 25, but it's bigger than 16 in that list of the perfect squares. So that means that the square root of 20 must have to lie between the square root of 16 and the square root of 25. Well, those numbers are perfect squares. So that meant if I took the square root of 16, I got 4. And if I took the square root of 25, I got 5. So if I'm going to estimate the square root of 20, it has to lie between 4 and 5. So I'm going to just take a little note here. The square root of 16, we know that when I take the square root sign disappears and I got a 4. Well, then there would be the square root of 17 or 18. None of these are perfect squares, because when I take the square root and try it on your calculator, you don't get a whole number. You get, it's called an irrational number. Let's learn about that later. Not for me. And then look at these. There's all these numbers that lie between these two perfect squares. 5, when you take them, 4 and 5. Well, if I look, this is exactly halfway. So somewhere between 20 and 21, if I took the square root of 20.5, it's going to be about 4.5. So that means that the square root of 20 must be really close to 4.5. So if I'm going to guesstimate, I'm going to say 4 point, I don't know, something close, maybe like 4.49. Let's try that. Or 4.8, how about not quite right at 4.45. So if I'm guessing that it's 4.48, then I'm going to have, I can try that. Let's multiply those numbers together. Let's go 4.48 times 4.48. I'm doing it on calculator. Oh, I did pretty good. That's 20.07. That's pretty close to 20. All right, so I'm looking for those numbers that I would multiply to get that. I know it's not 4.45 because that lies right in between the square root of 20 and 21. And if I actually try it on my calculator and take the square root of 20, I get 4.47. I'm pretty good at this estimating stuff. Yes, that's why they asked me to do the video. All right. When you go to page 21, now you're going to try some on your own. You want to identify the two integers that the square root lies between. So look at your list And what your teachers are going to look for tomorrow is, did you know what two perfect squares 28 lies between? If you look at your list, you're going to know it's going to be bigger than 25, but it has to be less than 36. So the square root of 28 is going to lie somewhere between 5 and 6. Remember to take those square root signs away when you do that. All right, so try the rest of these on your own. What two perfect squares is 51 going to lie between? And then decide which one is closer to. Is it going to be closer to your 5, or is it going to be closer to your 6? That's your homework for today, but you need to finish up page 21. And when we get back to school, your teachers are going to check it and make sure you did your work. Okay, it was fun being back in grade 8. Bye.